Student housing is such a unique industry. The more unique an industry is, the more important it is for that industry to have a resource and a platform to share ideas and data, to determine best practices, and a platform to simply promote networking among the professionals in that industry. That's what we are setting out to provide with Student Housing Insight. But what's even more unique about the student housing industry is how unique those professionals are. They want to make a positive impact on the students and the university communities they serve. They understand they have an opportunity to touch the future. They come to work every day looking for ways to make that future bright. If you're one of those people, come be a part of Student Housing Insight.
Hey, we're live. We made it. Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar. I'm Wesley Dees. I'm the CEO and founder of Student Housing Insight. This is your first time that you've ever interacted with Student Housing Insight. We are a platform for student housing professionals to network, share ideas and data. You can find out more at studenthousinginsight.com. Well, guys, for 2024, we are producing a new webinar series called Innovating Student Housing Operations. And in this series, we are meeting with student housing professionals about some of the tools and products and services that they are using to improve their operations and enhance their resident experience. And today we're talking to the folks who are using Opiniion. If you're not familiar with Opiniion, they provide a service to basically help operators measure the satisfaction level of their residents and manage their online reputation. And so how does it do that? Well, number one, it automates the process of capturing your resident and prospect feedback. Basically, you can set it up so that every touch point that you have through your property management system or in some other system that you're capturing those touch points, it will capture that information, will automatically send emails and text messages to the residents so that you can find out how their experience was. It uses those requests for feedback so that you can also increase your positive online reviews. And it organizes all of that feedback into an easy to read dashboard that provides real-time data that is very, very actionable. It's a fantastic tool that even myself on the asset management side, with some clients that I use, and we've used it with great success. We've improved our Google rankings. We've also been able to get a lot of feedback that we didn't realize we were missing out on some things, and we're able to turn those around. So this webinar is obviously sponsored by Opiniion. They've gained a number of student housing users over the past year, and they've received some incredible feedback from those operators as well. So they wanted to create this webinar to give other student housing operators an opportunity to hear why this service is working so well for the industry. I'll be the moderator for today, and we've got a great panel that is representing. Well, I'll let them say how many beds they're actually servicing or managing. And I say servicing as well because we not only have management companies on today, we also have a marketing agency that is using Opiniion as well. So let me bring everybody onto the stage. Hey guys.
Hey.
Hello.
How's everyone?
Well, I'm glad everybody's finally here today. We have this scheduled on Tuesday. As you can tell by my voice, we've had a couple of bugs that have been going through my house, and I was not able to make it on Tuesday. So thanks for you guys for being so patient and reworking things, and also to our audience for showing up today after on a Friday. I mean, give it up for everybody. We've got 23 people here right now, and it's Friday afternoon. So let's go ahead, and I want you guys to introduce yourselves. Obviously, talk about your company as well. Would like for you to also give the audience an idea of how many beds you guys manage as well. Abby, we'll start with you.
Great. So my name's Abby Hellman, and I am the marketing director at Walk to Campus.
We are based in Rock Hill, South Carolina. Our company owns and manages about 4,000 beds, I think, at this point. The majority of those are at coastal Carolina, but the rest are kind of scattered all throughout the East Coast. We have been using Opiniion now for, I guess, almost a full year. We started with just 1 or 2 markets, and now we have expanded to the rest of our portfolio. We own complexes as well as some standalone houses. So that makes us a little bit more unique in terms of property management, but it's a lot of fun. We have some old houses and some beautiful new builds.
I think we said we do alphabetical, so I don't know if somebody will figure out. Brandon, I guess you're next.
Sure. Yeah. Hi, everyone. I'm Brandon McKinney. I'm the Director of Paid and Organic Media at Agency 53. We're a full-service marketing agency, really in the multifamily student housing realm, and we've been using Opiniion for a little over a year now. So, yeah.
Brandon, about how many?
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Sorry. We are servicing over 100,000 beds as a marketing agency.
Great. Devin.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Devin. I am the Director of Leasing and Marketing for Tailwind Group. Based in Mankato, Minnesota, we have between 14 and 15,000 student beds. Newer to utilizing Opiniion, which maybe we could say that means bringing a fresher perspective. I don't know. But newer to using Opiniion as of the first of this year, and had a really great experience so far.
All right. Jasmine.
Yes, my name is Jasmine Zelenko, and I'm the Vice President of Operations for Yugo, the USA group. We are a global company across the world that has student housing. In the US alone, we have 46 properties across 34 states that I manage. It's a little over 18,000 beds. As far as Opiniion goes, we've used Opiniion for the last year. We piloted it initially on 11 of our sites, and then we rolled out the rest of our sites at the beginning of this year just because it's been such a great tool and has seriously improved our reputation management for the 11. So we're super excited to continue to use this tool.
Great. And Adam, I think we skipped you.
I was like, what kind of alphabetical order are we going here? My name is Adam Yarber, and I'm the Director of Training and Experience at University Partners. We own or manage about over 13,000 beds. As of next Friday, we'll be at 13,500. So we've got some transitions coming up this week. And we've been on Opiniion since, we've had some sites on since July, and then we've taken our full portfolio on in September and have seen some really great response.
Well, great. So, before we get really into any kind of the technical, type of stuff, what kind of challenges with, measuring resident satisfaction and managing online reputation did you have prior to implementing Opiniion? And really quick, I just want to let our audience know if you've got any questions for today's panel, by all means, put it in the chat. If you would, just put a Q in front of it, just so I can kind of. That way I won't have to go search it, or I won't have to go search for it. I can find it pretty easily. So just put a Q in front of any questions that you have. And yeah, with that first question, let's go ahead and jump into that. Adam, you want to take it?
Yeah, I'll start. I'm not shy about reputation management. I think before Opiniion, it was a lot more of a free-for-all. We were using another service that I think a lot of the industry is familiar with. We won't use any names. We weren't getting good reporting from that. The information that was being told to us, it wasn't accurate. The target changed often, and it was hard for us to really encourage our teams to do well when they didn't know what to do to make the scores accurate. And so before Opiniion, it was just kind of all over the place. And also the other part of that, apart from just responding to the reviews and and kind of seeing how we're performing was generating reviews. So we had to rely on just folks asking for reviews or organic reviews. There wasn't a lot of ways that we were getting reviews coming in through a systematic approach. So Opiniion changed a lot of that for us.
Yeah, I can piggyback a little bit off what Adam said there, because we're in a similar vein. And Wes, you kind of mentioned it in the intro there, is it's the actionable data that we were missing out on. So we just really didn't, our team didn't have the insight into how move-ins versus move-outs is performing, or the maintenance requests. And it really just makes it difficult to help those teams hone in on the specific areas of improvement. And then we were also missing that level of like industry data. You can compare yourself against your other communities, but it's really helpful to have a level of insight into how the rest of the industry is really doing as a whole. So that was a bit of a data gap for us.
Gotcha.
That's something we're definitely working on right now, and that's probably one of the biggest tools that I pull out of that is how are we comparing to our industry? There's a lot of benchmarks and tools within Opiniion that can show you that. And the one thing that I like is the huge chart on the beginning of the satisfaction page. It just tells you work orders, your tours, your everything is benchmark according to industry average, so you can have something to work towards with your team to make sure you're improving those scores. So that's one of my favorite tools there. That's something we didn't have before.
I'm not sure if you guys feel the same. I mean, I feel like for those of us who've been in the industry for a while, a long time, no news meant good news. But with more students today feeling more confident about, hey, I'm going to be super candid online through a majority of channels and platforms, I think it put us in a reactive cycle as it related to feedback. I think we all probably worked with properties that at one period of time would post flyers around the community or send out, social media communications or email blasts of like, hey, leave us a review. And then we would get inundated with positive feedback to try and bury the negative feedback to try and offset. And unfortunately, Google being as intuitive as, those consumers that are looking at that information, they question the validity of those reviews and that feedback that we're getting. So I think for us, for a long time, it was no news was good news, but today's student is not afraid to share their opinion online, and we can't be reactive, nor can we, and to Adam's point, trying to figure out what the secret sauce is in terms of trying to improve online reputation. We can't just go on offense and try to bury a ton of negative reviews with an influx of positive reviews, because sources like Google are looking at that and they're questioning the validity, and then calls into question your business practices and like how you're generating that feedback. So I would say that's kind of what it looked like before versus how it's kind of changed the game a little bit to now where we're at.
Gotcha. So, you get back to Jasmine, what you were kind of talking about, the things that were missing, beforehand. How's that kind of translated, on what you're kind of doing on a day-to-day basis or a weekly basis, when now, because you didn't have those goals before, you didn't have that data before, but now you've got it. Has that changed anything as far as your day-to-day or your week-to-week?
Yeah, so we have, we pull all of this information on a Friday and we go over region by region. So it automatically, we have it set up to where we pull in all of that information into a KPI dashboard, and all of those reviews from Opiniion get pulled in, and I can actually sort it by region. So I can work directly with my regionals to make sure that each region is performing according to industry standards.
Oh, you
And
should
if
share
there's-
your screen so we could see all your regionals and how they're doing right now.
That's a different webinar. That'll take all day. So that's we can work and see how each region's doing compared to other regions, based on industry standards, and just make sure that we're honing in on if there's a certain region that's suffering, we can kind of go back and see if that's a region across the country that's suffering, or if it's just something that we need to specifically work on. So that's like I said, my favorite part of Opiniion. One of my favorite parts of Opiniion is that that benchmark dashboard that we can use, that we then pull in and work off that on a weekly basis to make sure we're staying right where we need to be.
Kind of curious. You and I haven't talked about this before, but Yugo is obviously an international company. you guys are just using this in the U.S. Has there been any feedback from, and maybe they haven't seen it yet, but from your colleagues that are, in Europe and Australia, or they are they ready to get their hands on it, or what is that? What has that feedback been like, if there is any?
Yeah, it's pretty funny that you mentioned that, because we actually brought that up on a call recently with senior leaders across the world that we were using Opiniion. And we have a business excellence team that I work really closely with, and she kind of oversees the whole business excellence and resident satisfaction and student action planning part of it. And so we were talking about Opiniion with our UK and Ireland VPs, and they were, in Australia and Europe. And it's something that we eventually want to bring to Europe, just to make sure we're streamlined as a whole, because I think, what Opiniion brings to us alone could be used worldwide to make everyone, as successful as we are with the tool.
Sure. Yeah. Sorry to put you on the spot, but that was the thing I just realized. Like, we haven't even talked about that. You've got other countries that I know haven't even started using it yet. So, hey, I want to go to the next question for you guys. How has Opiniion enriched communication with your residents?
I can start. For Walk to Campus, what really convinced us, I guess, to try out Opiniion the first time and just really, I guess, dip our toe in was the work order review. That to us was, we were doing it manually before, and actually having our, on-site teams follow up with every single work order that we did. Not only was that incredibly time consuming, but, we wouldn't get a response probably 95% of the time. This now being able to use the Opiniion platform for work order reviews has completely changed, how we get that feedback. I think residents are a lot more open to sharing what they want through like a online survey. We had someone actually who wrote a comment back like, yes, they did great. Hank was the best. He came in and showed me exactly what he was doing. And our property manager saw the response, responded to the resident via a text, and the resident said, I didn't even realize you guys read those. So it just, I think it adds a little more of a personal touch when, we can actually provide that almost immediate feedback and make the residents feel like they're being heard.
Yeah. Now, in Walk to Campus, I think everybody here is an Entrata client, except you guys. You have your own software that you guys have developed. Was that integration process pretty seamless for you guys, or?
I think it took 2 emails.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, basically and this goes a little over my head, but I think there's some type of an export that goes out of our system, and then it just automatically sends.
Magic happens, and
it just happens, and it works great. Again, not my exact forte, but I can point you in the direction of people who can do it.
Perfect.
Abby, I would agree with your point, especially about maintenance. I mean, I think we can look at the value of Opiniion and see it in the sense of we can start to work through the things that we have an opportunity to do better, but it's also an opportunity to double down on the things that you're doing well, especially on the maintenance side. I mean, I think today's students are very knowledge seeking, and whereas in the past maintenance would go in to fix something, they'd want to make as little noise or make their presence not known very much, just get in and out and not disturb anybody. But with today's students being so knowledge seeking, they really do enjoy maintenance kind of walking them through hey, here's how I fixed it. Here's how you can prevent this from happening in the future. And this is a really good way to capture that type of feedback, to understand these are the things that our residents seeing. We need to double down and continue to do this, or how can we expand on those efforts to make it even better. I think it's great for understanding where we have growth opportunities, but I think it also really helps us understand what we're doing well, celebrate our teams, and build on those things, continue to replicate, take it to other markets and other properties that we have, as individuals that touch a lot of properties and a lot of markets. So I think that's a big piece of it too, especially like you noted on the maintenance side, because a lot of times with maintenance, we get feedback when things aren't going well. And it is really nice and really reassuring to get that feedback when it's like, okay, we fixed a problem, we solved it, they're happy, things are moving in the right direction.
Adam?
Yeah, I think for us, this is something we kind of had in place before, but I think it's just even more strengthened by Opinion. But our expectation is that when we get negative feedback, that instead of just posting a standardized templated response of "thank you for your feedback, call our office if you have any questions," well, they've already done that. They've already contacted us through the review. Most of the time, there's a book called "Hug Your Haters" by Jay Baer, and he talks about online hating and offline hating. And a lot of times when residents leave a review online, it's because they were not addressed. They've come to our office, they have got so much going on. But I think our teams are expected to call them, pick up the phone, call them, send them an email, go to their apartment, find out the solution to the issue, correct it, and then post a response. So it has charged our teams to make sure that we're not just going through the motions. When I talk about reputation management, I don't like to use the word management because that implies reaction. I like to talk about reputation development because that involves us actually being proactive about doing things, trying to take measures ahead of time. But then when something does happen that we can't control, we are not just posting a response and saying, well, let us know how we can help. No, we're actually trying to get out there and fix the problem. And so I think our residents can absolutely see that. They're smart and prospects can see what's going on. So, yeah.
And Adam, I've got to ask, I said, and I didn't prepare you for this. And yeah, I'm notorious for doing this, but I got to talk about what's behind you there for a second. For those that don't know, Adam is it Lego certified? Is that what we call it? Or
I'm Lego Serious Play certified.
Okay. And you actually use, because you've done training for a lot of companies that you've worked for, and you use Legos to actually help with the training. I've just got to, I know you guys have not been on Opinion that long, but I'm just wondering if you've even started putting it together in your head, how you're going to start using Legos to train folks on Opinion.
I haven't put that together yet. No, but I mean, Opinion is influencing a lot of others. This is a good segue, I think, Les. It is influencing a lot of other areas. I think one example that I'm happy to use is as the director of customer experience, I read every single review that comes through, including the feedback. So for those of you who don't know, Opinion works in two ways. It prompts people to leave a review on Google, and if they score below a certain amount, it will prompt them to leave feedback, which is internal. That's one of the biggest features, I think, of this platform it makes it so unique and makes it so worthwhile and successful. And so even the feedback ones I'm reading, and I've started noticing that a lot of residents were leaving us feedback about work orders and saying that maintenance didn't come, or the issue wasn't fixed, or that it was just closed and nothing was done. And so that prompted me to look into our work orders and figure out, well, what's going on? Are we not leaving information about what happened in the unit? And it turns out that our staff were just closing the work orders. They weren't putting any notes in. They weren't putting any information in for the resident, or if they did, it wasn't visible to the resident. So it influenced our policy to change how we approach closing the work order, that process, just because we were reading the opinion reviews, and it made a major change in our operational platform that is going to help us in a long term serve our students and our residents better.
Yeah, it's something. It amazes me sometimes. I go into a restaurant or something, and you see the mistake that's happening like play out right in front of your eyes of someone not talking to somebody. No one's trying to do anything malicious or wrong or it's not even that they don't care. You could tell that piece is missing, that link is missing. And you can walk out, come back a week later, and it's still there. And it's all because I'm not going to take the time out. A lot of people aren't going to take the time out and say, look, I noticed this. Like, I'm paying you to get my food. Like, I'm not going to sit here and tell you how to run your business. And so it's amazing how introducing a tool like that can bring some of that stuff to light. So that's crazy how that happened. Well, yeah, let's take that, into the next question. How are you guys using Opiniion when it comes to holding your team accountable?
I can jump in there. As an agency, we really are trying to provide as robust and transparent reporting as possible. And it really comes down to all levels within our client's organization. So if you're overseeing a lot of communities, you may only want to look at that sort of roll up level type of information so you can hone in on those specific communities. But if you're more hands-on at the community level, you're going to need more of that like full scope of data to help you understand like what's truly happening on site. That way you can address those issues. So with our reporting, we really try to cover that full gamut. We want to show you how your individual campaigns are doing, even compared to the averages. We also want to show you what that feedback response rate is. Being an agency, it's a little bit different for us, but we really want to put that front and center in front of the right people so that they can drive those results. We also, as an agency, run a lot of ongoing training with these on-site teams to help them utilize this platform. One thing we've noticed with Opiniion is it's way more user-friendly than anything we've ever had in the past. So it's been a big benefit, really easy for us to train those team members. But we found once they truly understand the value, like Adam said, of the feedback versus the reviews.
Hey, Brandon, if I can, I'll just dig into that for a second. What makes it so much easier? Is it the interface or?
Well, I do think it's an intuitive interface. I think one of the benefits to us and why we chose it in part was because they've taken a bit of that multifamily or student housing focus. So, being an agency that's focused in that industry, having a platform and a partner that's also focused in that industry, we've seen all the benefits. They're putting the data front and center for us. It's a lot easier to dig into what you think is important.
Yeah, there's definitely an art to it. That's for sure. Gotcha. Okay, I just wanted to dig into that for a second. Go ahead.
Yeah, so that's really it. We want to make sure that we're providing the right people with the right data and then training them to utilize the platform effectively.
Gotcha.
Being on the like day-to-day operations side, one of the things that I think is really cool that we do is we have online reputation and resident satisfaction as a discussion point in our monthly property performance reviews. So there are metrics that we track as a part of that reporting, and then our asset management and leadership teams are regularly asking our property managers about major changes in their online scores, as well as like what's the on the ground consensus from month to month. And I think just like regularly incorporating that into your dialogue of like touch points with your properties is super, super important.
Gotcha.
We actually are so with Opiniion, the one thing that's different than I think what I'm used to is our site teams have the ability to go ahead and post those responses on their own. And so in order to kind of monitor that process and make sure that the responses are quality and accurate, we have our regionals pull a report every 2 weeks in our operations meeting, and they give us kind of a report of how their portfolio is performing. So instead of us telling them, they're sharing it with us because it keeps them in the know of what's going on in their communities. Obviously, I'm reading them, but it's a good conversation to have with the rest of our team on areas that can be improved or just kind of trends that they're seeing. After all, the regionals outside of the property staff have probably the most impact on that since they directly supervise the property staff. So keeping the regionals in the loop and kind of giving them the ownership of reporting that is very beneficial.
And you said you guys were using it in a bi-weekly meeting with your regionals?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we have a bi-weekly operations meeting, and the regionals each kind of give a quick breakdown of their portfolio.
So are there any particular any particular reports or parts of the dashboard that you guys use for that, or is it something that you guys have kind of
We mainly have them
built
just kind
out
of pull
to
the reviews. Yeah, we mainly have them pull the reviews, but the word clouds
I love the
are
word cloud. Yeah.
the word clouds are really helpful, and they're in multiple places. And the great thing about that is the word clouds are filtered based on the dates that you choose. So it's going to be specific to those dates that you're looking for, and you can filter them positive, negative, or all feedback. So it's really nice because you can pick 2 to 3 things that you're doing well, and 2 to 3 things that you need to improve on. And that's kind of we kind of operate by that rule of like we can't fix everything, but what are 2 to 3 things you can work on over the next couple of weeks or next couple of days to make small improvements? Because when you make small improvements in multiple places, those improvements add up to be a lot.
Yeah, yeah. And if you're listening to this and you're saying word clouds, what are they talking about? I probably should have brought some screenshots up or something, but yeah, if you actually go to opinion.com, and it's opinion with 3 I's, opinion.com/SHI. There's a demo there that will take you through it. But yeah, you've got the part of the dashboard, you've got these word clouds that it's pulling everything from your online reviews and also what's coming in directly into Opinion of what's associated with low stars, what's associated with number 5 stars, and kind of gives you an idea so that if you want to look at the negative stuff and you're constantly seeing pool as being one of those words. Well, okay, what's wrong with the swimming pool? We need to check that out. So it's been a fantastic tool for me from a asset management standpoint. So anybody else on keeping your teams accountable?
I was just going to say, when you look at that word cloud and you see the word like on-site team or staff, like huge in the like positive word cloud, you're just like, yes, like that's a win. Like our teams are killing it. They're like highly engaged with their residents. So it really does allow you, like Adam said, to dial in on like what 2 to 3 things do we really want to focus on, but what 2 to 3 things are we really crushing it? And when I see like events, maintenance, staff, like the bigger the word, the more it's being mentioned, those words really big on that positive word cloud. That probably makes my week more than anything.
What's even better is seeing actual team members' names pop up on there. That's when that's when the team members really get it.
Yeah. Jasmine?
Yeah, same thing. I mean, that word cloud is definitely one of my favorites too, but it's there's 2 different areas. You can benchmark according to your campaigns, like move in, move out, lease renewals, tours. You can benchmark against the industry there. And then you also have your public rating, which we also then pull weekly. So it rates you against the industry, how you are on apartments.com or Google and so on. So those are the things that we look at weekly, and by region, just to make sure that if we're seeing any anomalies that we need to address, and it breaks it down even further by property. So, it's definitely something that our regionals are very a part of. That I see the emails, I'm copied on all the emails that go straight to them if there's a positive or negative review. So it's very much a big part of everyone's day to day. And just Opinion just makes it so super easy just to stay on top of it on a constant basis. Like I can't rave enough about it. It's just, I know we were talking earlier about what we did before, but just seeing everything that Opinion can do, that makes it easy for us to hold our teams accountable, to make sure we're doing everything on a day-to-day basis, weekly basis, reporting to stakeholders, just makes it all worth it.
Well, that's a perfect segue to the last question I wanted to ask you guys, which is just how's Opinion making things easier for you and your teams? And Jasmine, obviously, you mentioned the reporting. Anything else?
The reporting and like Abby said, it's real-time data. So when a review comes in, it comes over right away. We're able to go on the dashboard and see things immediately and not wait. Where in the past, we had to wait for an email to be sent that a review was posted on Google, or we had to like go on and search for all kinds of reviews to see what we were looking for. Now everything comes over, whether it's a campaign or it's a public rating, a review, anything that is going on in the outside world for your residents, just it's real-time data, and you're able to react right away, and then be proactive about it in other areas. So that's how it just makes things a lot easier for us, and it minimizes the disgruntled residents that we could have otherwise, and we're able to stay on top of it and then even proactively move forward to make sure that something like that doesn't happen again.
I'm going to piggyback off of that word proactive, because that's really what's made the biggest impact for our company. I think, being able to use the surveys and the campaigns, it almost allows us to like have a whole new segment of people that we can get not people that we can get feedback from, but a time when we can get feedback from these people. Right now, we're really focusing on kind of the full leasing process from like a management standpoint, looking down, like what does the process look like from tour all the way through. And we're actually creating a new survey that will run across our company that after someone signs a lease, we can follow up with them and say, did you have questions that weren't answered? How did you feel about the leasing coordinator you spoke to? That's not something that we would normally approach those new residents, future residents, for that feedback. So
That's an important function we haven't even really hit on. It's just the survey part of it. I mean, yeah, you've got these kind of
custom. Oh my gosh, it's awesome.
Yeah, you got this kind of micro, survey that goes out with, each touch point. But yeah, you've got the ability to, if you want to do move-in surveys and that type of thing. So yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, I'm really excited about this survey to see. And it kind of goes back to the training. Like, how can we train our team better in that process specifically? We talked about the maintenance a lot, but what about the leasing? It's just a good opportunity, I think. And same with, they have a tour one, they have move in, move out, of course. But we can do it for events as well. How did you attend this event last week? Did you enjoy it? So there's a lot of opportunities there.
Let me just, sorry, Adam, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say really quickly, like that's one of the best parts about it is I think we're all worried about getting that negative review that we don't really want to ask. And we're all just waiting for those positive reviews to come in. And this tool actually gives us the opportunity to just get ahead of it and ask for those reviews, whether it's good or bad, so that we can fix it. And that's part of the big proactive approach that we're doing is we're asking them, what do you want to see? What can we do better in our campaigns so that we're just getting ahead of it versus just people moving out, slapping us with a bad review if they didn't like something and didn't say anything until they moved out. So we can just better handle it that way.
Yeah, I think that feature where, the feedback is internal and the reviews are external. I mean, I think when Alex and I were talking about this originally, he said, I think it's like less than 2% of the folks who score below a 3 actually follow through to leave a negative review after they leave feedback. And that's proven true for us. We actually do limit the ability for the site teams to run campaigns just because we don't want to over survey our residents. But we've implemented a process that if they want to run a campaign, they can fill out a form and then we can set that up for them. And that gives us the ability to really monitor and make sure that we're being strategic about when we're asking those questions. Because I think sometimes if we left it up to the site teams, they would ask them 15,000 questions on 15,000 different surveys without thinking like, oh, that's 10 different emails in a week that you're asking for. So I think we limit that ability, but it is a great feature, and I really love being able to customize those. We haven't even gotten to the full functionality of it. I mean, we're just basically running basic campaigns right now, but we did one a couple weeks ago after an event, and I think the team got 50 positive reviews, 4 or 5 stars, within 24 hours of that going out. It really just kind of blew us away. And I think the other thing in terms of making things easier for our site teams, while I'm a huge stickler for not using templates to post and respond to
I'm so
negative
glad
reviews,
you're about to, I'm so glad you're going to talk about this.
I'm a huge fan of using the auto responses for 4 and 5 star reviews, because that just I mean, it's a great problem to have, but they're coming in so much now that it's really hard to keep up with them. And that's one less thing our site teams need to worry about, is coming up with a great response to, hey, thanks for your review, keep it up. Like, we have a couple of responses. We do turn the auto responses on through Opinion to kind of post those immediately, and then anything that's 3 stars and below, our team crafts a response for that. And then we have protocols in place. If we can't find the resident and there's just no information about that situation and it's completely anonymous, or they leave no context or anything like that, we do have some templates that they can customize. But where possible, we're trying to have our teams focus on what we can be actionable about. So it shifts the focus from busy work and checking off a task list and focus it onto meaningful work that's going to impact the future, impact renewals, impact customer satisfaction, impact leasing in a lot of ways.
Brandon, how about from the agency side?
Yeah, I mean, we can stick on surveys just for a bit. I think they're a great tool to really capture maybe even like how a temporary amenity is performing on site. We've seen a ton of great results where on-site teams are learning a ton about maybe what food trucks they want to schedule in the future. So things like that, they're actually able to make more informed results in the future, really drive a better experience for the residents. So I just wanted to touch on that for a bit, but that's one way it's definitely making it easier for our team. But being in the student housing space, reputation management is our goal with it is obviously to increase our overall rating and drive a more positive experience on site. However, we also look at this service as really complementary to our organic SEO efforts. With your rating, your reviews, your review frequency being such strong ranking factors, we really think it's critical to have some sort of ongoing review generation and reputation management strategy in place, just in order to be as successful as you could be in that local and map pack. If you're successful in that local and map pack, you really can over time become less reliant on paid ads, less reliant on ILSs, and really just capture the results organically, which over time is going to be a lot more cost effective. So we really look at it as a tandem to some of our other organic efforts as well.
Gotcha. Yeah, Adam, the thing that you mentioned about the responses, that I want to stick on that for just a second, because there's now a new AI feature that they've come out with, which I haven't rolled that out to our properties yet, but it's not an AI response. It's just an AI generator where it's doing that response. I mean, guys, you know how it is in our industry. I mean, as much as we want to, say we train our residents or train our, employees to do this, and at some point in time, you're either going to have an employee that's had a bad day, or you're going to have an employee that's really new that didn't hear what was happening in the training and how you're supposed to respond, and understand from your standpoint why only you're responding to, or corporate levels responding to anything that's below a 4. And I understand that, but I know some other companies don't have that ability, and so for them to be able to have an AI generator that is coming up with those responses, and allowing the that employee or the manager to read that and think, okay, yeah, that actually does sound a lot better, or that sounds really good, but I actually need to tone it down just a little bit, and be able to go through that process, I think is fantastic. I've loved seeing that feature. I hope I get to roll it out soon. Have any of you guys rolled that out?
Yeah, we have on our side. I think it does a great job at sort of taking some of this sort of templated roboticness away from those positive responses that you're making, and really adds an extra layer of personality. Like Adam said, you want to try to spend less time on those positive responses. So we found it really helpful in that regard.
Gotcha. Well, guys, that's all the questions I had for today. I hope everyone has been able to get through this horrible voice of mine this afternoon. But thanks so much for the time. I think there's a lot of other student housing operators that are out there that are looking at Opiniion, and maybe they've got some questions. They just need to get a demo done, or they've done a demo and now they're kind of wanting to hear from other student housing operators. So I feel like this was kind of a perfect way to get everybody together, and for those that are using it, and kind of give your experience. And you guys have done a fantastic job with that. So thank you so much for doing that. Anything else you guys want to add today?
If you're on the fence, give it a try. Pilot Opiniion. That's what we did. We piloted it at a couple sites first. One that had really poor reputation, and one that had, from what we were told by the community manager, good reputation. And it actually helped out quite a bit. And so that was one of the deciding factors that we rolled it out to our entire portfolio. So it's worth a try.
Hey, and before we end, let me mention it back to our audience. If you got any questions, put those in. Joe just posted this. Does Opiniion tie into your property management system so that you can easily send out campaigns to residents? Yes. Or is there an upload that is required? Yes. If there's not a integration with your software, you can do an upload. That's pretty. That's something that they do. And does Opiniion have access to all the resident contact info or not?
It does send email and SMS text.
Yeah, I don't know that it gets any other contact info.
I don't think so.
You do get a little snapshot of the entire resident journey too. So all the different engagements and times they may have interacted with, a piece we haven't touched on, but another really good benefit to using Opiniion there.
Gotcha.
I do. Actually, that has been a fun tool that I use now that we've had it for over, or just about a year, I mentioned, but being able to follow residents. So, we've had residents now who have renewed, and being able to track and monitor what their reviews over time and how those have, changed and modified based on our staff and what's going on. And that's been a helpful tool to be able to go back and specifically dive into the individual residents.
Yeah. And Kathy Cook, who, if you're located on the West Coast, she's your rep. She responded to that just to confirm no personal information, just name, email, and phone number. So thanks for that, Kathy. I don't see any other questions. Guys, I appreciate it so much, especially for a Friday afternoon. Hope you guys have a fantastic weekend, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everybody.
Guys.
Thank you.
Have a good one.
Bye.
Thanks, Les.